The national anthem is problematic.
It's problematic.
And problematic.
Highly problematic.
Problematic.
Highly problematic.
Seriously problematic.
That attitude is extremely problematic.
Good morning, world.
Good morning. If you can't tell, my job today is to help Brian, and those of you who look like Brian, let you know how your whiteness is extremely problematic in today's world. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, before we find out why my whiteness is problematic, I'm going to read a comment, Cedric.
Okay.
This was from our Jason Aldean. Try that in a small town video reaction.
That was a problematic song.
That was problematic. So somebody by the name of @JohnPressy5900 said, "Damn, Brian looks great in that Jason Aldean hat."
What was the person's name again?
John Pressy. Thank you, John.
Jane?
John.
Not Jane.
So we'll just do the whole video with this on. How's that?
Okay, all right.
How's it looking?
That might be problematic, but we'll get into that later. All right, as you guys know, our format has been a couple videos, a couple music reactions, and we talk about something that's going on in the world. If you haven't noticed lately, we're talking about critical whiteness studies, and believe it or not, it's a true thing.
Nobody's heard of critical whiteness studies.
It's coming up new. It's coming to a university and college near you in the fall of 2023, and we've talked about this before.
Wait. Explain to what's it called?
Critical whiteness studies.
This does sound problematic.
You being white, you are part of CRT.
Wow, so they're taking CRT to another level?
Yes, and why it's almost impossible for individuals like me to get ahead because of all the problems that you're causing.
We want to keep these type of episodes going, and you know how Google and you know how YouTube likes to shut us down. We've already had a couple videos shut down.
That's when you know you're on the right track.
So if you could give us a tip, Cash App or Venmo. If you like what you see, throw a little tip our way. If you like our reactions, if you give us a tip and tell us a song you'd like us to react to, we'll put you at the top of the list. If you would like to buy any of our hats, that also helps us keep this channel going because it's getting harder and harder, and I guess I'm going to find out why.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning here. First of all, we should start, what is whiteness? I mean, it may seem pretty obvious what whiteness is because you can see the contrast between Brian and I. Richard Dyer is a Department of Film Studies in London. So this is Richard Dyer. So Richard Dyer says whiteness is, in Western culture, the essential everydayness. I don't think everydayness is a word, so I took this off their curriculum. The everydayness of whiteness allows white people to, quote, create the dominant images of the world and yet be unable to see that they construct the world in their image. Richard Dyer. So here, let's put it in everyday language. So you as a white person.
So they're separating people by race still. They're just making it.
Don't see, that's the problem right there. We talked about this in CRT.
Whiteness and white are right in the definition here.
But you being angry shows that it is a problem because remember you're not allowed to get white.
I don't have to get white.
I did get angry. As a white person, your job is to create the dominant images we see in the world today. So what we do, whether it be music or literature or art, it is created by white people like you.
I wish I had this kind of power.
I know, but that's why I'm here to let you know.
Okay.
And yet at the same time, you are unable to see that you've constructed this world that we all live in your image. Now it sounds like the book of Genesis when God said, let's create, man in our image or create the world in our image. But as a white man, you're pretty close to being godlike in today's world. And so you are constructing the world in your image. Before you turn us off.
Did you do this because you want me to get some hate?
We're using sarcasm,
You're
right?
Getting the hate. You want me to get the hate.
But if you read that, people will look at that and say, you know what? That makes sense. That's what's scary. Is you will look at that and say, I can kind of see where they're coming. Because
I know 50% of the population of the United States will say that makes sense.
When I said earlier, this is being taught in schools. It's being taught in colleges all across the United States. And they start, and it's usually under the umbrella of the English department, where they cover simple things like editing, fictional writing, and things of that nature. But here we have whiteness studies at the University of New Mexico, and I'll read part of it. It says, in this course, we'll explore the interdisciplinary field of Whiteness Studies. If your children or your nieces or nephews are going to University of New Mexico in this fall, they may be taking this course, so you should be aware of what they're taking. It says we will learn about whiteness as an ideology of supremacy and domination that functions, in part, don't heavy breathe, wait, by labeling what white people do, think, and value as superior and normative.
So they're basically taking the neo-Nazi, the KKK stuff, and saying that that's what normal white people think.
Yes.
This is straight out of the frickin' KKK. Or if you're white, you say you're superior.
How would you know what's in the KKK manual? Our goal is this. This is so in this course. Our goal in this course is to learn how to identify and challenge whiteness as part of an anti-racist practice. In this course, we will largely focus on whiteness in relation to colonialism, educational context, and language practices. Classwork will include regular readings, informal homework, and doing the Carlton dance from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We got this from the University of New Mexico, but there's one at the University of Colorado. It's going to be offered at schools all across this land. And this kind of piggybacks on what we were talking.
Not in Florida.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm really concerned about. And I was talking with this about a gentleman yesterday that I bumped into, is that back in our day, we were given the narrative, if you want to be successful, go to school,
work hard,
work hard and get a good job. And sometimes you went to school to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be an accountant, to be a teacher. With the courses like this, what do you get a job doing besides going back to the system and regurgitating the system?
You just teach it.
The junk all over again to the new generation coming up.
Or work for MSNBC.
Yes.
If you went to a country that is primarily black, are they teaching this to the black people there? Are they teaching how blackness dominates our culture? Because if you're in, say, Nigeria, where the leaders are black, it's because that country is predominantly black.
Yes.
If you're in India, guess what? They're as darker than Cedric. They're just Indian from India. By saying that this country is primarily white is kind of missing the point. It was originally settled by people from England.
Yes.
Okay? And then people from Ireland came over, and then Germany, and then guess what? You have people from India, you have people from China. And we are one of the only societies that has this melting pot, and our logo, E pluribus unum, from many one. We want a melting pot. We don't want, like New York, where there's boroughs of different people. I know I'm using that term wrong, boroughs. Boroughs is the 5 boroughs. But you have sections of the city where you have the Chinese here, and you have the Hispanics here, and the Italians here. That's really not what this country was supposed to be. Everybody was supposed to come and assimilate.
Right.
All right.
I'm
off my soapbox.
As a native Los Angelino, Los Angeles is probably one of the most segregated cities you'll find in this country, because I can go to any area in LA and you can tell me the city and I can guess within a couple percentage points what the dominant culture or race is in that city. I can tell you what's in Diamond Bar. I can tell you what's in Watts. I can tell you what's in Irvine. And we're really segregated in that way.
But what happens when you come here to, let's say, Corona? My neighbor next door is Middle Eastern. The one next door to him is Indian. The 2 neighbors across the street are black. The 1 2 doors down from me are Hispanic. And we all live in the same community, kind of like that small town. It has nothing to do with color. We look out for each other, and we're of every nationality I can think of.
Yeah. I have my own code to Brian's house. I can come in through the front door. He's changing it now. I always bring that up. So we want to cover real quick.
But it's the reason why these smaller cities and suburbs work better than the cities, because we're not segregated.
Right. Absolutely. So we want to cover number 1, what is whiteness? Richard Dyer made it up. Number 2, whiteness is being taught in our schools. If it's being taught in our colleges and universities, you better believe it's going to trickle down into our high schools, elementary schools, preschools. Lastly, if it's being taught, very similar to the civil rights movement, we talked about eradicating racism. Unlike that, the question I want to pose is, can whiteness be cured? When
you keep using whiteness like it's an actual thing. You're taking these freaking classes.
I'm using the class, the curriculum here, the syllabus. Don't get all white and get upset. So but here's what I want to say.
So if you go to a university, a man can magically become a woman too. So
yeah, I know, but it cannot be cured. Why can't it be cured? Because it's fabricated, much like that thing that was floating in the air back in 2020, and we all had to get shots for, and we all had to get masks for. And it's a circular problem that they can keep making up and keep making money off of. You can't cure a fabricated problem. And so now they got us. And if you don't watch out, the next generation is going to be perpetrating the same thing all over again. So we got to be mindful of that.
Part of me, you know how I like to play the devil's advocate, and I love to. I don't even have the energy. I don't even have the energy to play devil's advocate because I'm so tired of this. And if you are wondering why I'm triggered, I didn't know what this was. When Cedric said, hey, we're going to do a thing that I've been looking up, and he mentioned the name of it, I didn't know it was going to be a university thing. I didn't know it was going to be just CRT on steroids. So now CRT wasn't enough because it's critical race. Race is just kind of a generic term. Now they had to actually throw the term white in there so people can really be divisive about white versus other. And it's
But you understand what I'm saying, though, because how do you stop being white?
No, I know.
How do I stop being black?
This sounds so much like what they would teach in the KKK or in neo-Nazism and all the stuff that people say is on the right. Yeah, okay, if that's on the right, we disavow that stuff too. Just because we're on the right doesn't mean we agree with that stuff. Just like if you got your friend who's a regular Democrat, that doesn't mean they're a communist. The extremes, but the problem is they're teaching this now to kids.
Yeah.
They're not teaching about other stuff to kids. How about just teach Martin Luther King stuff? Treat each other with respect and treat each other by the content of their character. Why not just teach that?
Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. But this is probably a bigger moneymaker.
Only light or only whiteness can drive
Whiteness can drive out that. But and most of you watching this channel, we know that we're preaching to the choir here, but just making you guys aware of what's going on and how they're just putting this stuff into our school system.
It's a damn shame.
It's a damn shame.
Sorry, I had to steal you.
No, that's all right. I was getting close to saying that. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that video.
Send us some video comments.
Yes, absolutely. I do.
Create a Google Drive or a OneDrive or whatever drive you like to use and upload your video just to say hi to Cedric and Brian. And then email us at cedricandbrian@gmail.com and give us that link. Share it, and you share that with us, and then we can actually have a nice video comment. We'd love to see that from you guys. Now you can talk.
I agree. So with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, and continue sharing our channel with everyone you know, and continue being good to each other no matter what. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. Thanks again, John. Appreciate it.
Stay off.